When God names himself I am that I am, he probably didn't actually mean I am that I am. You see, in context, there's a conversation happening between Moses and God in Exodus chapter 3 and 4. And that conversation is about God's desire to redeem his people, the Hebrew people, from the clutches of Pharaoh in Egypt. And God wants Moses to go and do it. And in that conversation, one of the very first things that Moses says is, "Who am I to go and do that?" You see, Moses had kind of tried that once before. When he was still living in Egypt in chapter 2 of the book of Exodus, he kills an Egyptian overseer, thinking that in doing so he might catalyze a rebellion, an uprising of the Hebrews, and they will follow him in fighting against Pharaoh and the oppression that they suffered. But that's not what happens at all, and Moses ends up having to flee for his life. And so when he's standing before this God on the mountain and says, "Who am I to go and speak to Pharaoh?" it's a legitimate question. What's interesting is Yahweh's response. God says, "I will be with you." In Hebrew, that's the phrase, "Ehyeh imcha," I will be with you. Now, the whole point of that is God focusing on his presence with Moses. Moses isn't going to go do it alone. In the very next verse, Moses has a second question. First question, "Who am I?" Second question, he says, "Say I go and I talk to the elders of the Hebrews. They want to know what the name of the God is that sent me. What should I say?" His question is, "Who are you?" And God's answer is exactly the same, at least it is in Hebrew. He says, "Ehyeh asher ehyeh," I will be what I said I will be. And that's really important for the purpose of the whole story. The whole book of Exodus is asking the question of where is God and will he be present with his people? And so the answer to both of Moses' questions, "Who am I?" and "Who are you?" is the same. I will be. I will be with you, Moses, and I will be what I said I will be. Now, it's fine for us to say, I am that I am. There's a reason that we have that in our Bibles today in English, and that comes from the Greek Septuagint and the translation of the Hebrew into Greek and then into English and so on and so forth. And that's all okay to see God as the all-existing one. But what's really important in the book of Exodus is that we understand that there's a theme going there, that God is trying to make evident to both Moses and to the Hebrews and then to us as readers that he is committed to being with his people. And that's why